Hello YouTubers, fellow investors, it's the Dividend Bloodhound here with another investing video. Today we are going to talk about whether Boeing is a buy right now. Now, as some of you might have seen, Boeing has been in the news recently with its production halt of the Boeing 737 MAX. This has caused the share price to pretty much tank and drop pretty far in the last few days alone, and actually we've saw over the last 3 months, the last quarter, the price has actually dropped $55 per share. Boeing is if you haven't heard of it, it's the biggest aerospace company in the world, and it produces most planes that if you've been anywhere on holiday, you will have probably used a Boeing airplane or an Airbus plane. Them are the two big heavyweights in the aircraft producing industry. The company itself produces commercial airlines, but also has a lot of heavy military contracts with the countries of the world, like for instance the US Air Force, where they produce the Globemaster, and they also produce that for the Royal Air Force in the UK as well. They also produce the Apache helicopter, which is a very well armed helicopter, attack helicopter. So it's not just about the commercial airlines itself. There is other parts to Boeing's business. Now, obviously, the production halt to one of their flagship models has caused real trouble. They have been producing them ever since the two crashes that killed well over 300 people, quite sadly. They've continued to produce the model, even though it's been grounded, it's had its certification to fly revoked. They've carried on producing well over 400. Where they're storing these, I don't actually know, but they've carried on producing 400 even though they're not able to fly. They've been producing about 30 to 40 a month, every month since the crashes, with literally no way to fly them, because that is not forthcoming. The certification to fly has been revoked, and nobody actually knows when that's going to happen. And this is a major concern for Boeing shareholders. There are other models that that Boeing make that are completely okay to fly. So yes, this is a big part of the business that's in trouble, but all its other models are still certified to fly. There's no issues there. And then, as we can see here, there's no production. The plan for when production will restart, we're really not sure about that. They've also frozen their dividend. This doesn't mean the dividend's cut or gone down, it's just frozen where it is. I think it was roughly sitting at their dividend yield is about 2.5%, something like that. That's going to remain, and they're not going to increase that, but also they're not going to decrease that either. I think in the long term they'll get back to actually increasing that again over time. Their growth actually has been, over the last 3 years, about 29% annually, which is obviously really good. So over the last 3 years, the outlook is quite bright. It's just this one black mark or stain against Boeing that's really holding them back at the moment. However, revenue from commercial airline as a whole has declined quite significantly, about 20%, 20 or 30%. I think this is mainly going back to the 737 MAX that's really weighing heavily on Boeing's business right now. But in reality, I think its fundamentals are actually quite strong. It's got other business in defence, in space, in other commercial airlines that actually will keep it quite robust. And though this is a big setback, and don't get me wrong, it is a big setback, I do believe that they will recover from this. One other thing to mention is that JP Morgan has estimated that for every month that the production is halted, it's going to cost Boeing $1 billion each month. So it's in their best interest to get this sorted, and I do believe that they will get it sorted. But in the meantime, the share price of $3.30 a share, that is at the bottom of the dip at the moment. Boeing's share price declined into about $3.25 at one stage, I think, which obviously makes it attracts a lot of people to it as quite a strong buy. But I do believe this is quite risky at the moment, because you don't know how long this halt is going to go on for. You know, you could jump in at this price, and then all of a sudden they could announce that production isn't going to restart for 6 months, and the price jump again. But at the same time, 330 is like a reasonably fair price, I would say. Judging on where it was before, it's already at $55 discount from where it was before, and Boeing has definitely been up into the 400s at one stage as well, and I believe it will get back there. It's just when all of this comes to a halt, they get production started again, they get it certified to fly, and Boeing can go forward. And I believe when that happens, the share price will go back to where some people would argue it belongs, up in the 420s, 430s, 440s margin. Now, if you jump in now at 330, that's obviously going to be a great return on you and on your investment. But obviously, you could, if you wait, you could end up slightly better off by waiting. But as I would say, sometimes it's best not to try and time the market. You don't want to sit around waiting because the price could easily go back up. You know, you want to be in over time. And even if you buy at this price and then the price does go down a little bit, it will eventually come back up. I think once Boeing sorts itself out, re-establishes the dividend, I think the price will go back up easily into the high 300s, early 400s as a bare minimum. You've got to remember that Boeing almost has a monopoly on the market in terms of commercial airlines. Its only main real competitor is Airbus, and Airbus has its own significant trouble as well with the A380. They're ceasing production of that great big huge double-decker aircraft. So it's important to realise that that Airbus has its own issues as well, which is its direct competitor. So in the long term, it will equal itself out. Now, if I personally had the money, I appreciate the share price is quite high, I would definitely jump into a Boeing share or two right now. It would bias my portfolio, because my portfolio, as you might have seen on Free Trade, is £2,000 strong. If I jumped in with 2 shares at this price, it would completely skewer my portfolio and increase my risk. But if the share price remains like this in the next month or two, when I do have some money from payday and whatever, I would definitely think about adding Boeing to it's on my watch list anyway. Some of you that will have watched my previous portfolio updates on YouTube will have seen it's on the watch list, and now is definitely a time to consider buying. And I've seen on various forums people are taking a punt and jumping in and saying like this is a good time really. It's up to you. This is not financial advice at all. I'm just highlighting the fact that the share is at a good discount. However, it could decline further. It could also recover. It seems to have steadied the ship at the moment, because it went down to 325, but then the price has steadied out a little bit, but then that's pending further news or further issues that could be highlighted in a few weeks' time. So that's about it for this. That's about it for this episode. Please, if you like what you've seen, subscribe to my video, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. I will love to see some feedback in the comment section. See what you think. Do you think Boeing is a buy right now or not? It's a very mixed bag of reactions I've seen on people's forums. Well, please leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.